Hey guys, how's it going? It's Sean from Ridesharing101.com. Please visit the site, check out the link to the Facebook page. Please check out the link to the YouTube videos. I've got the short stories about the interesting people I've picked up. And in addition, there's the ebook and the t-shirts that I have for sale. And today is a brief rideshare story. I had a great discussion with this guy whose name was Cosmos. And that's all I know because we were just talking about steaks and barbecue on the whole trip, which was very ironic because I had just dropped off a couple to Green's Restaurant. And for those of you who don't know, in San Francisco, Green's Restaurant is like the premier vegetarian restaurant. It's been around for decades. It was, I think, the first vegetarian restaurant, or one of the first vegetarian restaurants in San Francisco. Actually, now that I've said that, that doesn't quite sound right because I'm sure there were some in Chinatown that I didn't know about. But anyway, it was one of the premier vegetarian restaurants. It is nationally known, had its own cookbook. Anyway, I drop off a couple to Greens. And then right after that, I'm parking in the parking lot, and I get a request, and it was right by Green's Restaurant. So I'm kind of assuming this guy is a vegetarian, which was totally incorrect. But I was telling him I was thinking about getting some barbecue, and he's like, oh, where are you going? And I told him I was going to check out this place called Cathead's Barbecue because I had dropped somebody off that was going there. I had dropped off somebody that worked there in the past, and it always meant to go there. But whenever I'm thinking of barbecue, I don't really think San Francisco, and I certainly don't think of south of Market, which is wrong because it was really good barbecue, and I would definitely go back. And he was really funny. He's like, well, you should write a book, because he was asking me, he's like, have you had really good barbecue before? And I go, no, but barbecue in San Francisco sucks. And he goes, well, if you haven't been to Texas and Tennessee, how do you know? And I go, I just know. It's like good barbecue, but it's not barbecue. And he was laughing. He's like, yes, I've been to Tennessee and Texas. And he's telling me about, we're talking about beef ribs versus pork ribs. And I said, oh, my friends that do pork ribs, they I don't know, this might be sacrilegious, but they tell me the secret is to boil them first for a little bit. And then he's going, oh, no, that's great. That's, you can do that with the pork ribs, the beef ribs, probably not so much. And then he was telling me about his secret for good chicken barbecue is you boil the chicken for 20 minutes, but you don't boil it in salt water because salt water draws the moisture out. Regular boiling in just plain water won't. And then you barbecue it from there. If you've got your any kind of honey or sugary barbecue sauce will caramelize when you put it on the barbecue. And so I'm like, oh man, you're making me hungry. And I'm like, he's like, I'm really into steaks, and he's telling me he's writing this book called 50 Steaks, and he's going to basically break down the best 50 steaks in the country, and he's going to do it sort of by categories, by the chain restaurants, by first like the Mortons, the Ruth Chris, national chains like that, and they have, it's different. He's like, it's different clientele, so their process is different. They're catering to a different crowd, so you shouldn't compare that to a place that's just a standalone steakhouse. And he was telling me his favorite steak place was, he would drive 2.5 hours north of Los Angeles, and he was telling me, the ribeye, which is his favorite cut, which is also known as a Spencer, which I did not know. And he was telling me this place has a relish tray, and you get the steak and the potato and baked beans and a bunch of other stuff for like $35, and he would drive 2.5 hours just to get the steak. And my mouth was watering, and I'm just like, oh. He's like, you should write a book about barbecue, barbecue for people searching for the best, that haven't had the best barbecue. And he said you could do a rating scale of, like, the bottom would be like the McRib, where it has the at least the barbecue flavor, and then you could, just have a sort of different scale, and you can write a review, and it was hilarious. I wish I was taking notes at the time, but I was just sort of like, oh dude, yeah. And it was just awesome. It was really, really fun. And I love passengers like that, where you can just sort of strike up a conversation. And yeah, I was just, after I dropped him off, I was going to drive around a little more, but I'm like, I got to go eat. So I went to Cat Heads, had the Coca-Cola brisket, and that was good. Came with 2 sides. I got the pimento, macaroni and cheese, and collard greens. I love collard greens. And they're hard to find. Memphis Minis here has them, but they sweeten them with something, and it's just like, ugh. I'm sorry, Memphis Minis. I just don't like your collard greens. I don't like sweet ones. So this place was nice. They had this little, I got a few little pickled, like vinegary vegetables, with like bell pepper, cauliflower, and a green bean, and a little biscuit. Anyway, it was really good. I like it. I paid for my meal. This is a shameless plug just because I like them. So I'm not getting anything from it. I didn't tell them I was plugging it. I didn't get any free food. And they have a couple of smokers there. They even had a little parking. So I like Cat Heads. I have the word cat in my personal email address. I'm wearing the Fat Cat shirt. The place is called Cat Heads. I don't know if you can determine a theme here, but I'm a cat person. Cats rule, dogs drool, even though I do like dogs. So don't get me wrong. But, cats are independent. Dogs are needy. And I guess that is my personality. I'm a cat rather than a dog. So anyway, the purpose of this vlog is talk to your passengers. You will meet some really cool people. You will meet some people that don't want to talk. But it was really funny because we were talking, and he was going on about the steak place that's in between San Luis Obispo and LA. I think it began with a P, but I'm not sure. And I'm like, oh dude, you're making my mouth water. And he's like, I wouldn't have mentioned anything, but you said that you're going to go for a barbecue afterwards, so I felt it was okay. And just a really cool guy. Hit it off well with him. I wish I had more time to talk to him, find out about his background. But he said he spent a lot of his time in, where was it? It was like Taiwan and somewhere else, maybe England, I don't know, but very cool dude. And I'm hoping that he finishes his book, although as he said, there's a lot of research to do. So again, you might be wondering, what the hell does steak and barbecue have to do with ride sharing? Whatever you want. Ride share is whatever you want. You could talk about whatever. When I mentioned I'm a gardener for the city, people are like, oh, you're so lucky you get to be outside. And these are people, they're stuck in an office. So you could talk to about gardening. You could talk about steak. You could talk about barbecuing. You could talk about, I was talking with a couple of women about relationships, and how well do you really know somebody, and all that stuff. So it's just, I like talking to people. I like knowing their stories. It's just a great way to pass the time. It's a great way to learn about people and what makes them tick. So you can make rideshare more than just driving. You can have fun with it, and you should have fun with it. You're in a car, you're trapped in a car with people. You should, get to know them. So on that note, guys, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. Drive safe.